Hello, this is Dr. Chad Upchurch, and I am excited to be able to present this material to you today. Normally, we do this material live in the office, and of course, we will continue to do that. In the office, we'll be giving much more information than we're doing on this, just for the sake of being able to download and update and that type of things online. So I'm going to give you just the nuts and bolts of this program, a little bit of why we do it, and mostly how it works and the costs involved. And hopefully this will reach to many people that are unable to attend our workshops, and you'll be able to change your life because of it. It's been several years since we started doing this type of work, as far as getting into people's lifestyle and trying to make corrections. Over the 14 years that I've been in practice, we've watched an amazing change happen in the United States, and it's the obesity rate. Just so you know, being diagnosed as obese is 30 pounds or more overweight. The fastest growing epidemic within obesity is the morbid obesity, which is rapidly increasing even within the obesity stats. But just some numbers on this to show why we started working on this is that 2 out of every 3 Americans are overweight. 1 in 3 U.S. children are overweight or obese. It's a devastating trend as far as financially. $147 billion every year is spent by Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance on obesity-related health care. Obese people consume an estimated 40% more healthcare dollars compared to non-obese people. And those are things from diabetes to knee replacements to degenerative low backs to high blood pressure, heart disease. These are the things that are costing money. And I promise you, it is more expensive to be sick than it is to be well. More on this generation of children. This current generation is the sickest generation we've ever had in the United States. Every year, each generation has lived a little bit longer than the generation before until we got to this generation. My kids' generation is not expected to live as long as my generation. A full 1/3 of U.S. children are expected to have diabetes. Some of them will have diabetes when they're 20s, 30s. This generation of children is already being diagnosed with high blood pressure and high cholesterol. 1 in 4 Americans, 25% of Americans, can't even serve in the military that are ages 17 to 24 because of obesity and obesity-related problems. So, without me going into too much detail, we have got a serious problem in the United States. So the question that needs to be answered is what's the culprit? And the easy answer is the culprit is sugar. We eat way too much sugar in the United States. And just to be clear, I'm not just talking about the sugar that's in donuts or Coca-Colas or candy bars. I'm talking about all the carbohydrates that we eat. See, when you eat donuts, most people realize, oh, there's sugar in that. A lot of people don't realize that in the cheeseburger and the french fries, there's sugar in that as well. But there is. And all you have to do to find out how much is look at the carbohydrates. Take the total amount of carbohydrates, and for every 4 carbohydrates, it actually equals 1 teaspoon of sugar in your body. So a cheeseburger has sugar, or spaghetti has sugar, bread has sugar, a Subway sandwich has sugar. It all has sugar, and when you start totaling it up, it gets pretty scary how much sugar we're actually getting. In 1905, the average North American ate a 5-pound bag of sugar per year. And that is the desserts, that's the pastas, the breads, the vegetables, all the carbohydrates they ate in a year totaled 5 pounds. Now, 5-pound bag of sugar, that's the standard bag of sugar that you get at the grocery store. That's how much. So we'll use that to say that's approximately how much we should be eating in sugar per year. In 2009, and even worse now in 2013, how much sugar do you think we eat, North Americans? Just think about that for a minute. Now, I get all kinds of guesses on this. Usually people say things like, well, it's probably triple that. It's probably 15 pounds. Or maybe it's 25 pounds. Even some people go out on a limb and say 50 pounds of sugar that we eat in a year. And nobody has ever been close on their guess. The truth of the matter is that now, as Americans, we eat 150 to 200 pounds of sugar per year. This is a devastating amount of sugar, and it is leading to the vast majority of the health problems that we have in the United States. Just a sideline to this. sugar, well, let me back up even more. Your body knows how to stay in a state of homeostasis, a balanced state where it's healthy. So, example, your body knows how to regulate its body temperature at 98.6. It knows how to regulate your blood pressure. It knows how to regulate your stomach acid. It knows how to regulate your immune system. There's positives and negatives in all of those. But example would be is if you went outside and it was, say, 30 below zero. You get dropped off in Alaska, it's 30 below zero. Even though your body can regulate its temperature, 30 below zero is an overwhelming cold that will actually cause you to die. Same thing as if it's too hot. If the temperature is overwhelming, it overwhelms your body to adjust, then you actually die from it. Well, 150 to 200 pounds of sugar, when it should have been more like 5 pounds or 10 pounds, is an overwhelming amount of sugar that is literally causing us to get sick. The result of that is what we call Syndrome X. And this is the modern day epidemic. This is the epidemic that my patients and your friends and your family are all coming down with. Now, what is Syndrome X? Syndrome X is the result of overwhelming amounts of sugar. When we have overwhelming amounts of sugar, it causes our insulin level in our body to go up. Now, why does that happen? Well, insulin is the hormone that brings blood sugar down, and it does that by taking the sugar that's in your blood and it stores it in the liver and the muscles, and it also stores it as body fat. So understand that you cannot store fat without insulin. So insulin's role is very important. It is a normal role for it to do it. It is something that your body has to have. But what happens is that if we eat way too much sugar, if we have an overwhelming amount of sugar, which we do, then we have an overwhelming amount of insulin, which leads to the body becoming resistant to that sugar. So this is called hyperinsulinemia, which is too much sugar, and insulin resistance, which means that your body becomes resistant to insulin, which means that anytime you eat carbohydrates, your body has to produce more insulin, which makes it more insulin resistant and becomes this vicious cycle. Now, because insulin is a hormone, that hormone affects all different parts of your body. And the results of hyperinsulinemia and insulin resistance through this hormone are 4 classic problems: abdominal obesity, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and high blood sugar, or diabetes, prediabetes. Now, the reason that, well, let me back up. Insulin causes abdominal obesity because insulin is the key that causes us to store fat. Now, when I talk about abdominal obesity, the reason that is so bad compared to body fat in your rear end or your legs or your face or your arms is that most people don't realize that the fat that's stored in your belly starts off by surrounding all your organs. It's in between your organs, it's around your organs, and then it starts to push outward to where you've got this larger belly. That extra fat around the organs is actually causing cirrhosis of the liver. It's causing kidney disease, and we're seeing kids that are going to be on dialysis by the time they're 20, 30 years old. Devastating health consequences by fat around the organs versus in the rear end of the legs or other places like that. So abdominal obesity is a classic symptom of too much sugar, hyperinsulinemia, and insulin resistance. Now, how does insulin as a hormone affect cholesterol? Well, insulin as a hormone tells the cells that manufacture cholesterol to manufacture cholesterol. Insulin's what tells them to do it. So the more insulin we have in our body, the more cholesterol we're going to manufacture. Now, let me give you some opposites here. There is another hormone in your body called glucagon, and glucagon does the opposite of insulin, meaning that glucagon, when your blood sugar is low, causes us to release the abdominal obesity, causing us to lose weight. It causes your cells to stop manufacturing cholesterol, which lowers our cholesterol. As we move down to high blood pressure, insulin as a hormone causes you to retain water through the kidneys, which causes your blood pressure to go up, and it also tells the muscles, smooth muscles around the arteries, to thicken and grow, so the arterial walls become thicker, which also increases blood pressure. Glucagon, which does the opposite of insulin, causes the muscles to decrease, and it causes the kidneys to lose water. So one of the first things that people get when they're on high blood pressure is a diuretic, which causes us to lose our retained water, which decreases our blood pressure. But what I I hope you're starting to see is that if we just change the way we eat and we reduce the sugar and we reduce the insulin and raise the glucagon, then we can eliminate things like cholesterol and high blood pressure and abdominal obesity naturally. The last one, of course, is high blood sugar, and when your blood sugar is high on a regular basis, it leads to diabetes and prediabetes, which of these is probably the most devastating of them all because diabetes causes things like blindness and heart disease and gangrene and loss of limbs and just some really bad disease processes from high blood sugar. So I can go into a lot more detail about insulin and glucagon, how it affects. It affects things like the thyroid. It creates things like polycystic ovarian syndrome. It causes us to have more aches and pains and arthritic changes. Just on and on and on. The amount of damage this hormone does to us when it's out of control because your body's being overwhelmed by this sugar. We've got to regulate that insulin and balance it with glucagon, and amazingly we see some of these things go away. We see the abdominal obesity go down, we see the cholesterol disappear, we see the blood pressure disappear, we see diabetes reverse. 90% of diabetes is reversed according to the stats, can be reversed if people follow the right protocols, and that's what we are able to offer. So most people that are listening have probably done some sort of a diet in the past, a typical diet. And a typical diet will cause you to lose water, fat, and lean muscle or lean tissue called protein or muscle. The problem with that is that your muscle is what drives your metabolism. And so as we lose muscle mass, then we mess up our metabolism, which means we can eat less food without regaining fat. And of course, as we start to eat a balanced diet, then people regain their weight, but it's in the form of fat and not muscle. So every time you go through one of these yo-yo diets, you lose 20 pounds, you try to eat normal, you gain 25 pounds. You lose 25 pounds, you try to eat normal, you gain 30 pounds. You end up always doing more damage than you do good. So I tell all of my patients, stop doing typical diets. Just stop doing them. They're making you worse than if you just left it alone. What you do want to do is follow a program that actually works and gets these benefits. So let's talk about the differences in this, and we'll start to talk about what we're offering. The balanced diet, you'll see the graph on the left, the balanced diet. A balanced diet for somebody that's not doing extensive exercise should be about 2,200 calories per day. If everybody was eating around 2,200 calories a day, then more than likely we wouldn't have an obesity epidemic in this country. 2,200 calories should be made up of the carbs, the fats, and the proteins. You see in approximately the ratios that they're shown there on the screen. The red line beside them is the vitamins and minerals. Assuming that you're eating healthy, you should be getting the vitamins and minerals that you need. When you guys have done a hypocaloric diet or a typical diet, basically what that means is we either join some group that does a typical diet or we just decide on our own we're going to eat less, and so we cut our calories down from 2,200, we might cut it down to 1,200. But we keep our ratios about the same. We still have more carbs than protein, more protein than fat, but we also decrease our vitamins in half. You can't eat less food and still keep your same amount of vitamins. You're going to decrease the vitamins and minerals, which already makes this an unhealthy process. What also makes this an unhealthy process is that your body is going to come up with the 2,200 calories. The reason that's called a balanced diet is that that's the amount of food that your body needs to burn to stay alive each day. It has to have them. This is extremely important to understand. So if we only give our body 1,200 calories, it has to come up with another 1,000 calories. Well, where it comes up with that extra 1,000 calories is within its own body. It either burns muscle or it burns fat, or both in most cases. And the problem with this diet is because our protein levels are lower than where they should be, your body's going to burn both. It's going to burn fat and muscle, and that's that typical diet that we want to avoid. So how do we get ourselves into deficit where we have to burn energy without losing our muscle mass? Well, that's where we look at the third column, which is the phase 1 of ideal protein. And in this column you can see we reduce the calories even further, down to 850 to 1,000 calories, which sounds very scary, except when you understand how this works. we cut your calories mostly out of carbs and fat while maintaining an ideal amount of protein in the body, hence the name Ideal Protein. Now, people ask all the time, is this a high protein diet? It is not. It is an ideal protein diet. If you notice, the protein in the third column is very similar to the protein in the balanced diet, the first column. Very similar. So what this does is now we only give you, let's say, 1,000 calories. Your body needs to come up with 1,200. Now it says, okay, we're going to get it from either fat or protein. Well, there's enough protein in the diet that it tricks the body into just burning fat. So we can burn fat off your body while maintaining your muscle mass and give you a healthy weight loss so that you don't yo-yo and regain this body fat later. You'll also notice that, of course, the same as true with the hypocaloric diet is if we cut the food down in half, we're also going to cut the vitamins in half. So we actually have to replace those vitamins and minerals to make sure that it's a healthy weight loss and that your skin looks good and that you lose in a healthy way. So that's it in a nutshell. Now let's look at it a little bit closer from a mathematical place. So on our program, an average woman is going to lose 2 to 3 pounds of body fat per week. Now, a man is going to lose 5 to 7 pounds of body fat per week. Now, the reason for that, as you probably have figured out, is because a man has more muscle mass. So from a woman's perspective, the last thing you want to do is lose muscle. You already have less muscle than a man. The last thing you want to do is lose more than that, because now you're going to gain weight even faster. So we need to figure out how to get you in a range where you're going to lose 2 to 3 pounds of body fat per week. To burn 1 pound of fat, it takes 4,000 calories. Now, let's talk about exercise for a minute. 4,000 calories is a lot. If you go for a 1 mile run, you're probably going to burn less than 200 calories, 130, 180 calories on a mile run. So how many miles are you going to have to run to burn 4,000 calories? Can we just say a lot? So here's what I want to do. I want to put this to rest. You can't exercise off the weight, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose. It's not worth it. It's way too much exercise to burn just 1 pound of fat. We have to do it nutritionally. So to burn 1 pound of fat is 4,000 calories. If we want to get in the range of 2 to 3 pounds per week, then we need to burn, to get that, the average is 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds of fat per week is 10,000 calories. So we need to burn 10,000 calories a week. We take 10,000 calories, divide that by 7 days. That equals 1,430 calories per day that we need to burn to make sure that you're in a 2 to 3 pounds per week weight loss plan of body fat. So here's how we do it. We're going to give you 850 calories to eat from your diet. Remember, the magic number is 2,200. We have to get to 2,200. That's what your body needs every day to survive. We give you 850. You need 2,200. That leaves a deficit of 1,430 calories, which are going to come from muscle or fat or both, except for the fact that we keep a constant supply of protein in your diet to trick your body into just burning fat. So by this protocol, we're able to burn 1,430 calories of body fat per day, giving us an average of 2 to 3 pounds of body fat per week on women and a 5 to 7 pound body fat loss for men per week. Now, why the protein? I think we've covered that pretty well. It prevents the muscle loss to maintain your metabolism. But everything vital in your body is made up of protein, so we cannot afford to lose it. Now, here's why we don't want to just go start eating a bunch of animal proteins. If you take a 5-ounce filet, very lean, very high quality piece of protein, it's approximately 200 calories. Now remember, 5 ounces is a small amount. Most people are going to want to eat 7, 8 ounces of meat. 5 ounces is only 200 calories. 35 grams of protein in this, but our body will only absorb 70%, giving us a total protein intake of 24 grams. On the flip side, what we provide for our patients is an ideal protein that's highly digestible, very, very good for us, high biological value, so it's only 100 calories, but it gives us 20 grams of protein, and the body absorbs 95% of it, giving us a total protein intake of 19 grams. Now remember, for us to lose weight, we have to put our body in deficit. We have to eat less calories than our body needs, less than the 2,200. So the best way to do that is to make sure that we get plenty of protein for a low amount of calories versus with the filet, 200 calories per food and only get 24 grams. So we need to get lots of protein for low amount of calories, and the only way to do that is with our ideal protein foods. So I hope that makes sense why you can't do it just by eating more meat. So real short on this, weight loss has two contracts, or getting healthy has two contracts. Number one is to lose weight and get healthy. Now these aren't written contracts, these are mental contracts you have. Your first thing you have to decide is I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get this insulin under control, I'm going to get the sugar under control, I'm going to change my health, my life, my children's health, their life, and my family's health and life. The second contract is to maintain that weight loss from now on. And this is what we really pride ourselves on, is that we teach you throughout the program how to start to eat differently, how to eat vegetables and meats, and how to combine those, how to cheat when you get off the program, because there is no cheating on the program, but how to eat cheat foods and good foods that we want, like pizza and chocolate and these types of things. How can we eat those and enjoy life and enjoy food without having to gain the weight back? And we show you the keys to that. And I'm very proud of the way that we do it. We've got many people that have kept 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 75 pounds off for well over a year now, and they've done very, very well with that. So here's how it looks on a typical day. You're going to eat our highly digestible, very good tasting proteins 4 times per day, or actually 3 times per day. Breakfast, lunch, and a snack before bed. One meal, usually dinner, you're going to eat on your own, and that's where we start teaching you how to eat. You're going to eat 8 ounces of lean protein, which can be chicken, steak, eggs, fish, whatever, and 2 cups of vegetables to go with it. That meal can be lunch, it can be breakfast. Most people have it at dinner. But the other 3 times you'll eat, saying breakfast, lunch, and before bed, will be ideal protein food. One exception to that is your lunch time. You will also add 2 more cups of vegetables to your ideal protein food. Now these foods can be anything from omelets to chocolate puffs, bars, shakes, yogurt, pancakes, cappuccinos, cereals, soups, puddings, you name it. We've got all kinds of different foods that you can eat for every type of taste bud and desire. I mentioned earlier that the food's delicious. It is delicious. We don't hardly ever get complaints about the food. If somebody has a complaint, it's over 1 food or 2 foods. There's plenty of foods that people love, and it's we just don't get any complaints on that. About 3 times per day, you'll take your vitamins with your meals, which will be 2 at a time, so you never have to take more than 2. And then once a week, you'll do coaching with us. And you'll come in and visit with one of our coaches. One is Melinda True. The other is Kim Alsobrooks. And you will come in, you'll do your body assessment, which will check your body fat percentage, your muscle mass percentage. We'll check your hydration levels. We'll also do your body measurements. We'll weigh you. So we do that every week. You'll also bring your journal with you. We'll go over your journal. We'll talk about what you did right, what you did wrong, make sure you're on track, and you'll pick out your new food for that week. So you get new food each week. And basically the cost of the program is in that, buying your food, which is excellent because that's what makes this affordable for most people. The cost is simply this. There's a $275 initial upfront setup cost. And what that is for your initial assessment and all your further assessments. You never have to pay for another assessment again. It's all included in the $275. You'll get the initial assessment, you'll get your initial weeks of food, a little bit of extra food, you'll get your initial supply of supplements that you'll need, your vitamins, you get your journal, you get a shaker cup, you get a bag, you get everything included up front with the $275. After that, you no longer have to pay for your assessments, you just buy your food, and the cost of the food per week is going to run about $84 per week. Now, here's how this breaks down. You are now spending money on food from Walmart or Kmart or Applebee's or vending machines. You take that total, and now you take that money that you're spending on food and you invest it into food that's going to make you healthy. So it ends up being, for somebody that eats out 2 times a week or more, those people end up saving money. I have many people tell me that they're saving money doing this program. Now, for the person that never eats out and they clip a lot of coupons and they eat very cheaply, it may cost you an extra $20 or $30 a week. But isn't it worth an extra $20 or $30 a week to be able to change your life, to be able to reduce or eliminate your medications, to feel better, to live longer, to play with your children, to play with your grandchildren, to be able to walk comfortably, to not deteriorate and degenerate and become diabetic? Oh my goodness, it's worth so much more money than that to get healthy. So, again, this is a very quick overview. I hope it made enough sense to you. There's way more that I can share with you of how this works, but I want you to grasp the concept that this is not a weight loss program. This is a health program. You can reduce your insulin. You can reduce your sugar. You can change your body. You can change your family. You can change your children. The results are there. We have lists of people who have been successful with it and gotten off medications and gotten their weight off. And I hope that you do it. How do you reach us if you have questions? Number one, you can call us. Phone number 615-441-6115. You can ask for Kim or Melinda, and they will be happy to sit down and talk with you about this program. You can also look at us on Facebook. We are on Facebook. Look up Life Source Wellness Center. You can see pre and post pictures and success stories of people. We also have our website, which is mylifesource.net. You can go there and see quite a bit of information there as well. Or you can email me or one of the coaches at lifesource@comcast.net, and that's our email address. So I am looking so forward to speaking with you, to seeing you, to helping you change your life. These are just one of the tools that we use in our office. So if you've got questions about other health issues, we'll be happy to talk with you about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Can't wait to meet you. Have a great day, and we'll talk very soon.